overconsumption, apathy, licentiousness. These are a few of the many adjectives that I would use to describe this epic. In this modern age, we are laden and wrought with many, many different conditions and broadcasts on how to live. In this series, I, Somer del Piso, will seek to unveil and analyze these different parts of life. This is the Pitfalls of the Modern World, and I'm your host, Somer del Piso. Let's get into it. What's going on, you guys? Somer del Piso back once again with another episode in this series, Pitfalls of the Modern World. Today, we're gonna get into a very, very interesting topic. So, like I say, like, comment, subscribe, and let's just dive right deep, right? So, you wake up as a man. The night before, you have had a very rambunctious rendezvous with your underparts, right? Basically, you masturbated. You wake up late, you wake up groggy. You have an appointment to go to, which is in the form of a college class. Because you woke up late, you are inevitably late to the class. You have a belly, you don't work out, you don't eat well, because you constantly have these habits that interrupt any sort of semblance of something with structure, a schedule with structure. You go along your public transportation in order to get towards your class, towards your college class. You understand that you are late, but you are rushing. You grab something quick, right, from the one of those street vendors. They're selling a cinnamon roll. They're made with bleached flour and an excessive amount of sugar. You eat it anyway because you do not make any discernment of what you put into your body. You go to school. Due to the expulsion of the most valuable force that a man has to date, you are listening in class, but you understand nothing. The college class in question is an accounting 2 class, labor economics, right? Labor economics is a little bit more difficult. You are trying your best to understand all the concepts that are being brought up in this labor economics class, but you have already expelled your force. Therefore, you are understanding nothing. You are just there blank-eyed, listening and wasting time. The class is over. You see the crush, one of your crushes, this girl, right? I don't know, long hair. I'm going off of something that I like, right? But never chase, because it's different for me. You go and try to talk to this girl. She promptly ignores you. You obviously don't make the connection that you have expelled your force the night before. You feel distraught, you feel depressed, but you have no friends to talk to about this issue because of just your habits, your destructive basis habits. You go to all the other classes and the results are the same, of course, in the middle of which is another break for lunch, where you buy food with high in sodium, bleached flour, excessive amounts of sugar, and soaked in canola or seed oils. You return back to your classes for the remainder of the afternoon, and it is the same fate. You are looking and understanding nothing. You go home, you see beautiful women side by side on the train, but you have this crippling anxiety. Your doctor gave you an excessive amount of pills in order to deal with this crippling anxiety and depression, but it solves nothing. You go home, you continue the cycle yet again. This time, you are on OnlyFans, and you just, after you look through a profile, right, a library of content creators on OnlyFans that you have subsequently subsidized, right? You try to find some video to expel your force yet again and continue the cycle, the perpetual paradigm. What am I describing, gentlemen? I am describing the archetype of the modern man. The archetype of the modern man, right? It doesn't necessarily encompass all the events and feelings and fleeting thoughts that I just described in that lengthy explanation, right, or profile. Rather, they have their own idiosyncrasies, they have their own unique behaviors and reactions to the things of the world, right? You see, the modern man is interested only in sex. The modern man is interested only in alcohol. The modern man is interested only in ostentation, right? Being sort of overly expressive. We have to have the biggest cars. We have to have the biggest chains. Intelligence, right? Classic intelligence. You know, the books of Homer, the books of Shakespeare, Dante Alighieri's story, the history of various nations. These are not important in the minds of the modern man, insofar as it doesn't help them achieve sex, release, expulsion of our most powerful force, semen. The modern man also pays for sex, so enraptured by their lustful feelings that it's not necessarily their fault, but rather the super stimuli that is imposed and infused in all of the foods that we consume today in order to continuously generate hunger, in order to continuously generate desire for those things. And due to that consumption, that overconsumption, the sexual faculty is accelerated and they seek only to indulge it. The modern man does not have any compassion. The modern man looks around and tries to imitate examples of the successful, traditional, yet modern man. The old man that was told by his father during the days of Huckleberry Finn. Man, that's a little too old, but the example still stands. The traditional modern man goes back and listens to the advice of their fathers, who also encompass the behavior of modern men, which is to indulge, which is to release, which is to accumulate, which is to dominate, but never to do an introspective look at who we could possibly be, the direction of where the world can possibly go, and what is the true value of ascendant divine knowledge, esoteric knowledge. The behavior is continuously perpetuated. On and on. We value these things. We value these very, very ephemeral things like beauty, excitement, which is all lasts within moments, pockets of time that don't lend to true ascension. This is the archetype of the modern man, easily distracted, dissuaded, easily persuaded, easily convinced. What can we do, right, as members of the semen retention community? What is important to us? How is it that we can escape the grip, the web, the trap, the ensnarement of the archetype of the modern man? In this world, you are not a man, you are not masculine unless you are able to indulge with multiple women. You are not masculine if you do not wear big chains and very exclusive watches. The big defining factor of a man is to destroy in order to accumulate for yourself, overutilize and manipulate the finite resources of this planet. You are not a man if you do not include yourself in these things. What do I, Sombra del Piso, think, right? Does my opinion even matter? Sure, of course it does. I think that it is nonsense. I think that in order to shun the ways of the modern man, one must try to develop control first, self-control. You see, compassion is what I say, right? These three defining, the three definitive characteristics of the new man, the ascended man, the one that is on semen retention and understands his place in the world and how his creativity, locked in his genetic code, can be utilized in order to better this place, right? The three characteristics of that man is one, self-discipline. The individual understands that they need to be completely disciplined and completely controlling of the mind, of the tongue, and of the spirit. Of the tongue, you know what to say, you know when to hold your tongue, you know what to eat, you know what not to eat. And of the spirit, you understand what your spirit is, what it entails, how your spirit could connect with the people of this place. And you do your best to only advance that spirit and not to have any activities that take away from that. Number two is an exercise regimen. If you are an ascended man and you do not exercise, I feel incredibly bad for you. The idea, right, self-discipline is predicated, right, in order to maintain that state, is predicated upon utilizing or maintaining the conditions of the body in order to accelerate that knowledge. Let's explain it like this. When the body is physically stressed, there is blockages, there are limits, there are obstacles, there are walls. If you do not get rid of these blockages, then the creative energy cannot flow, and therefore you are not being completely ascended. You are allowing the things of this world to bring you down, to affect your physical body, which in turn will affect the expression of your spirit onto this physical plane. You must have a physical regimen. You must go to the gym as an ascended man. Seriously, it doesn't matter what you're doing. Cardio, it doesn't matter if you're big or you're not big, but you are going to the gym, you're doing physical exercise, right? Self-control, physical exercise. The third and final trait that makes an ascended man powerful in this world. The complete observation of the ways of the world and an aversion to those ways. What does that mean? The ways of the modern world, right? The modern man is the one of ostentation, is the one of showmanship, being cocky. It's the one of being full of ego, misplaced confidence. The modern man revels in these things, and they are willing to say anything and pretend to be anyone in order to cut down their fellow man and their fellow individual, whether it be man or woman, to selfishly gain something temporary that brings no real value to ascension. Think about that phrase. The modern man loves these things. They are so enveloped in these things. They have no faith, the modern man, only in money, only in the things of this world. These ephemeral things, relationships. Let's revisit that third quality of the ascended man, which is the aversion to the processes of the natural world. These processes encompass many things, which is that eons long tradition of drinking alcohol, taking drugs, having families, pretending that you are important because you are a parent, basically doing or fulfilling the biological imperative of the body, which is easy. It is not challenging to sleep with someone. It is not challenging to have a child. People of this world revere that thing. They see it as value. They see it as something that's completely transcendental and important. Having children, having a family, showing off, having clothes, all these expensive clothes and cars, and manipulating the ignorant in order to selfishly accumulate nothing in value. What is it that needs to be done? Obviously, the encompassing of the three traits that make the ascendant man the ascendant man. We do not care about this place insofar that it doesn't bring us any true value. I like this world a little because I have faith in the individuals that live here. I think that we will get better. The people of old thought these things, like some of them, the select forces that believed what I believed and sought to make the world a better place through their actions, through their limited actions as well. If you feel that you encompass any of these traits that I explained earlier about what makes a modern man, then you must release those things, release those bondages, for they're only fetters to the soul to keep you locked here so you never look beyond, so you never try to ascend, so you never try to mix cultures or try to infiltrate cultures. There are people that are from Bosnia. There are people born in China. There are people born in Mexico, right? As an individual that doesn't belong to those cultures, you are not locked out of those cultures. That doesn't mean anything. They are just things that this world does in order to keep people where they are, so they stop them from exploring and actually ascending. We can do whatever you want. I learned Spanish in 2 years. I have no connection to the Spanish culture. I could learn Chinese if I wanted to, Mandarin. I could learn Cantonese if I wanted to. I can learn Arabic. You can do whatever you want as an ascending man because you are not listening to the ways of the world. Maintaining yourself as a modern man, right? Which is a person that's interested in falling in line, manipulating the ignorant, showing off, destruction ultimately, accumulation of things that have low value, right? This is what the modern men do. First, seek self-discipline in all aspects of the self, right? The mind, the heart, of course, and the loins. Remember, out of the heart, the most perverse things are uttered. The heart ties you emotionally to this world, and you believe that there's some sort of authentic link. You have feelings for this woman, right? This woman is your soulmate, your life. You cannot be who you are without that woman. That is the heart acting as a weight, keeping you from actually accessing the true corners and aspects and spaces and crevices of your true nature. When it comes to allowing the individuals of this world to change the trajectory of the direction of your ascension, then you must seal it. Control your loins, allow there no expulsion. So there's only an implosion of energy. So you are now able to bring the things of the higher realm, right, into this lower realm, in the form of policies, in the form of inventions, in the form of ways of thinking, ways of being, in order to truly unite this place. When you are an ascended man, the stark opposite of a modern man, you are seeking ascension. You are seeking self-control. And then you are ultimately seeking compassion, right? Not acceptance, compassion. And these are just one of the many things that will take you away from the pitfalls of the modern world.